The Marauder is a topic I put off talking about for a while since it's likely the most divisive element in Doom Eternal. If you're unaware, since Doom Eternal release, there has been a lot of debate about the Marauder due to its unique difficulty and pacing. Some people going as far to say they wish it was removed from the game entirely. While I don't share that sentiment, I can relate to the people who find this demon encounter difficult. The name is FooSarr, and while I'm not here to tell you to get good, I am here to suggest a change to the Marauder that could help the demon fit better into the fast-paced gameplay of Doom Eternal without removing what makes the encounter difficult. This is the ultimate fix for the Marauder. So as we all know, the Marauder is a corrupt Knight Sentinel, and that is shown by their design, weapons, and movement. They have an axe and a shield both powered by Argent energy, and a super shotgun similar to the Slayer's. To deal damage to the Marauder, you must time your attacks and stand within a medium to close distance to land a direct hit to the Marauder after it flashes green. This will stun the demon temporarily and open them to damage. Repeat that a few times and throw in some weapon quick swaps and it's defeated, but for some players it's not that easy. Sure, with practice you can overcome the challenge of the Marauder, but based on the sheer volume of casual or first time Doom players complaining about the difficulty of the Marauder, it's clear that there's an issue with the difficulty of this demon, and while no, catering an entire experience to newcomers isn't what I'm suggesting, an alternative to keep players entertained and feeling the same power thrills that experienced players feel is important. That is the identity of Doom after all, and for those seeking a higher challenge, they can move to higher difficulties. It's easy to get caught up in your own skill of a game and neglect anybody else's skill, which is unfair to them. I know a number of people I'm friends with who really struggle with the Marauder and refuse to buy the DLC since they heard that there were double Marauder encounters. This is obviously quite upsetting since, personally, I find some of the levels in the DLC to be some of the best level design in all of Doom Eternal. Since forcing lower skill players out of the experience that everyone else is enjoying just isn't fair to them, yet also forcing higher skill players to suffer easier encounters because of newcomers is also unfair to them, a fair balance is needed. In the Ancient Gods Part 2, they introduced the Armored Baron of Hell. They could only be damaged once their defense has been exploited via a green flash. But id Software, being the clever developers as they are, they listened to the overabundance of feedback from the players' discourse about the Marauder and implemented a feature to make the Armored Baron easier to defeat for newcomers if they struggle to land precise shots. This of course being overcharging the Baron's armor to break it off, very similar to previously established mechanics as far back as the 3rd and 4th levels with enemies like the Doom Hunter and the Shield Soldier. So using this train of thought, I figured a good way to change the Marauder would be to incorporate a shield overcharge mechanic that would temporarily destroy the shield, allowing for players to deal uninterrupted damage for a short time. We'll say 6 seconds for this example. Then once this time has passed, the Marauder will raise his arm and begin charging Argent energy, creating an AoE blast that will cause knockback and flame damage to the Slayer if they stand too close, creating a new attack and battle dynamic in the process. However, for those who do not wish to use this attack method, you can safely fight the Marauder without ever seeing this new attack even once if you'd much prefer to fight it the same way as you always have. So in a way, it's the same demon, same attacks, and fast pace, but now less experienced players have an easier time dealing with the threat and getting through the game without sacrificing the difficulty too much for experienced players. With this new mechanic being introduced, there could also be some interesting difficulty options introduced as well around this shield mechanic. Since also in the Ancient Gods DLC they introduced the Chain Gunner demons who have an indestructible shield, I think we can take a page out of their book too. When either an Archvile or Buff Totem is present, the Marauder will not only get a speed and damage increase, but their shields will begin to glow yellow, signifying that they are now indestructible, negating the new mechanic introduced to allow level designers to have a varied difficulty with the Marauder. This would force players to fight the Marauder as we currently have to do, without the Plasma Overcharge mechanic being a factor. Additionally, the temporary buff from the Screecher demon could also influence the shield mechanic too. Now that you've heard this idea, I'd like to know from you, Would this truly be the best of both worlds for new and experienced players alike? I wanted to change the Marauder enough to be accessible for newer players, but still retain the right amount of difficulty for experienced players. So tell me in the comments your thoughts on this, or if you have other ways to resolve the issue, or if you don't think it's an issue at all, let me know. I'd love to begin a discussion on this topic with everybody. The name is FooSarr, and please remember to remain respectful to people, stay safe, and most importantly, think for yourself and be creative. Thank you for watching.